I was wrong about the finals. Since the finals came out in December of last year, not even 2 full months now, I was glazing the hell out of this game. From its very beautiful looks, which I still believe, it's a very beautiful game, don't get me wrong, to its very fun and fast-paced gameplay, which for the most part again is also still true, to its destructive environment, which to me it seems to be its real selling point at this time, puts me at a crossroad with the finals. On one hand, I think the game is great and it has a huge potential to stay long-term, and on the other hand, I somehow can't shake the feeling that the game has lost about 90% of its player base. And even though they do have somewhat of a constant updates, they do provide constant updates, the game itself just lacks real variety. Now, let me discuss with you guys on why I think the finals is no longer fun for myself, and also the issues that I believe plague this unique shooter. If you've played the finals, you know that the thing that stands out the most is its really fun, destructive environment gameplay, while also having very fast-paced, team-based game modes like Bank It and Cash Out. The problem that I have with the gameplay as of recently is the lack of game modes and a variety of maps. Now, hear me out before you go out yelling at me in the comments below. You could definitely argue that many games out there, especially live service games, don't have that many game modes to begin with. And yes, while that is true, there's a reason why though games like that have a huge amount of replayability. They're fun, they give you a reason to come back, and you're also able to try something different, with a little bit of variety. And this isn't a problem exclusive to the finals, of course, but it is definitely something that nowadays does not fly by with many people. What sucks is that the gameplay itself is unique enough and interesting enough, but the execution definitely falls flat. I'm not sure what came from the playtest or beta, but I personally played a little bit myself. I don't remember too much since I am a controller player. I believe that the controller wasn't usable in the beta, or maybe I was just stupid, but I just somehow really explicitly remember that. And for this reason, I didn't spend a lot of time in the beta. I say this because you would think that they would have seen the game modes were kind of flawed from the start. There is no incentive to get to the cash box first and deliver it. The only thing that matters in the Bank It game mode is who has the cash out in the last 10 seconds. So it doesn't matter who's fought, who's gotten the cash box to the deposit, and who's pretty much stayed there the whole time. If you're able to secure those last 10 seconds, you pretty much win that cash box. You don't have to try that hard. You just have to pretty much destroy the defense. The other game mode, Quick Cash, is slightly different, with you having to kill your opponents and then taking the money that they drop to any available deposit box nearby. Now, the issue for me personally with this game mode is the fact that anybody could just camp the deposit boxes, wait for somebody to come to deposit, kill them, and take the money and deposit it themselves. Now, the finals does combat this in a way by changing the deposit box to constantly be moving, every X amount of seconds, but somehow the issue still happens to persist a lot, and it's definitely not fun when you spawn in, and since the map is relatively huge, people are just running around the place, and then you get killed immediately, and you gotta wait some more couple of seconds before you respawn. It's just a constant battle. Now, an issue I have heard as of recently that a lot of people have are cheaters. And I see this a lot. I see it everywhere on Steam. I see it on the subreddit. It's insane because personally, I don't think I've met with a cheater in the games. I have played a good amount of hours. I have played about 82 hours into the game. As of recently, I just don't play that much. But I've never experienced cheaters, but I have seen clips of cheaters, and Yeah, not fun. And that was one of the main reasons why I personally stopped playing Apex Legends. But yeah, definitely if this is really as big of an issue as I see a lot of people claim, definitely needs to be fixed quickly. Another thing I want to bring into light is the fact that the game has been doing very good in terms of trying to update, the meta, making sure things aren't too overpowered. But what ends up happening, sadly, is that you make one thing not as overpowered, and then you end up nerfing something else. You end up fixing what you nerfed, and then you end up making something else that's overpowered. That's sadly the thing that really tends to happen in games like this. Now, I know there's a lot of sweaty light class players with invisible and the taser loadout. I personally think that's a very boring loadout, and you see that quite a lot. You'll see a lot of invis come out of nowhere, tase you, and just one clip maybe they're with their team, and then the team just completely annihilates you. It can be very frustrating and can be a very terrible experience for somebody experiencing the finals for the first time. And what's very frustrating about a game like this is that I know it is heavily dependent on your team. This is why personally I dislike games like Overwatch. It doesn't matter about an individual skill, because even if one person is very good, you will still lose because your team needs to be very good. Tactical shooters like this, team-based tactical shooters, you're usually like this. And what sucks about games like this is people start to pick up on metas as well. Right now there's a whole nuke meta where people put these C4s on the gas canisters, throw them, instant kill. And I have heard that the developers are trying to work on a fix on this, and they are going to fix it very soon. But it's just things like this where somebody exploits something, ruins it for everybody else. Everybody starts doing it because it's cheap and easy, and it starts ruining the experience for many, many people. Matchmaking, I've heard, is a horrible, horrible issue as well. Personally, for me, my biggest gripe as well would be the team aspect of the game. Because one of the things that you aren't by default is in a team chat. The team chat is usually turned off, which I'm perfectly fine with. Sometimes, you don't want to hear what the other people are saying. Maybe they're not even saying anything at all. And in this case, a lot of people don't go into voice chat. A lot of people don't communicate. You could be very, very good and carry your team, but for the most part, in the finals in particular, you won't be able to secure that W for your team. Because if your team lags behind, you're going to suffer for it as well. Now, especially if you have a lack of communication, if you want to go do a specific thing, or you believe something is right, you have the right mind of where you need to go, your team doesn't follow, they do their own thing, and it just becomes a huge shit show that is not fun. The matchmaking system that a lot of people complain about is you get matched with lower level skill players. You have to carry everything. People don't know how to play the game correctly, and nobody would communicate. And if you want to communicate, the other people do not have to communicate with you. If you join into the voice chat, people don't have to join the voice chat, and now you're by yourself, yapping away. No one's listening to you. No one's communicating with you. And yeah, it's not fun. One final thing I did forget to mention that is kind of alarming, but it does tend to happen with many new games. And then it kind of, reevaluates itself later down the road. But the finals has lost a significant amount of viewers since its peak, which is kind of normal. After doing a little bit of math, it has dropped anywhere from 86 to 87% of its original peak player base up to its current as of today, since I last checked. Yeah, that's just something I wanted to note on there, because it is something that has been talked about as well, and people do tend to see games, they do tend to think that games fail based on these numbers. What do you guys think? Now, I know I've been yapping away at your guys' ears. I know I've been complaining a lot about the finals, but in reality, the finals is really fun, and I really want the finals to succeed. I hate the kind of society that we're living in right now, where we try new games, and then we end up just going back to what we're used to because people are afraid of change. People are afraid to give games like this a chance. People are afraid to really enjoy something different. And the finals is that. The finals is different. But what we need to do as a community is we really need to push these developers into giving us what we really want in terms of a fun experience for everybody to enjoy. The finals can definitely be that experience. I want the finals to succeed. I want the finals to prove everybody wrong, that it can be an everlasting game, and it can go toe-to-toe with games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, Apex Legends. Now, let me know down below what you guys think of the finals. Is it dying? Is it not? Am I stupid? Am I not? I mean, I think I'm pretty stupid, but that's besides the point. Love you guys. Thank you for checking out the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.